Alright, so today I want to share with you some of my favorite camp cooler hacks. These are things that I do every single time I go camping with my cooler. When I go out, I like Mountain Dew. It's no surprise. A lot of you that watch the channel know that I love my Mountain Dew. But sometimes it gets to be too sweet, especially when you're out and it's super hot and you've been working all day and you're in the hot sun. And that's where I like to drink things like Tang or pink lemonade, but it's really hard to make these in the woods or when you're at a campsite because it just doesn't, it takes too much time, and so you end up grabbing a can of Mountain Dew or a can or whatever just because it's faster and it's easier. And so what I do is I make these ahead of time and then I put them in mason jars. And so you can get mason jars in different sizes, and so I pre-make my lemonade so that when I get to camp I can just prop the top and drink it. I also carry two different sizes, and so this is a 8-ounce jar, this is a 32-ounce jar that I have pre-mixed. And the reason I like having two different jars is because during the day I will drink the little ones because I'm usually busy, I'm usually active, I'm usually trying to accomplish things, and so these little ones are nice to just quick drink and move on. Another thing that I like about the mason jars is these tops, right? So you have the top and then you screw it on. Well, with this top I can drink, put that top on there, and no bugs or anything is getting in my drink. Even if I set it down, I don't have to worry about bugs, and it's easy to just take off, drink, put it back on. And so I like using mason jars. I like the little ones during the day, and then the larger ones I like to put pink lemonade, pineapple juice, whatever, and then mix in my favorite adult beverage. And so having a vodka lemonade at the end of the night and having this large one that I can just sit down and enjoy, sip on while I'm sitting around the fire. I really like that. Even if I drink half or a quarter of it, I can reseal it. They don't leak. I don't have to worry about anything coming out of them, so I don't have to sit and drink this whole entire thing like you would with a pop or anything that doesn't seal. If you have a pitcher, again, you kind of feel obligated finishing that pitcher unless you have a place to store it. Where this I can seal up, put back in my cooler. Caroline likes to bring pineapple juice with Malibu for her night beverage sometimes. One thing you have to keep in mind when using mason jars though is we buy local honey, raw honey, and some have a wide mouth and some have a narrow mouth, and so you want to make sure that you know which is which. I use only the small lids for all of my everything. The small lids, that way I don't have to keep them separated. I don't have to know which is for which. I can just simply grab any lid and it'll fit on any one of my containers. Especially at night when you've had a few, it's nice to just grab the containers, seal everything up. But the large containers are usually about 32 ounces. And so on these smaller containers here, there's a line on the lid for 32 ounces and then a tablespoon for the smaller ones. And so what I used to do is I used to just make a picture, fill everything up, and then make another picture and fill everything up till everything was full. But what I do now is I just take the powder, put it the recommended amount in each jar, and then I fill them all up with water. That way I don't have a dirty picture before I leave to go camping. But the most important part of all of this is how to keep the stuff in your cooler cold. And one of the tricks that I've been doing for as long as I can remember is a lot of people have those refrigerators where the water and the ice you can reach just from the door. And I don't have one of those fridges, but my parents do, and I go and I steal their ice all the time. It was funny because I've been stealing their ice for as long as I can remember. but I asked if I could film myself in their house just out of respect, and I text if I could film myself stealing their ice, and my mom called me back and she's like, what are you talking about? And I told her, I was like, yeah, I steal all the ice out of your fridge. And she's like, that's a really good idea. So even my mom didn't know that hack, and so hopefully it can help a lot of you. But that's how I get my initial ice. If you're gonna be gone for a long period of time, or if you're going through a lot of ice, you're probably gonna have to buy more, but usually I can just grab that big tub, fill up my cooler, and that's all I need for a couple day trip. Usually I'm only gone for a weekend, but I usually have enough ice. It usually melts, but I eat everything first. I also like to plan my meals and everything ahead of time, so that the things that need to absolutely be cold, I'm eating right away. And then the hot dogs and the ketchup and the stuff that you like to be chilled, it's not as do or die as, let's say, like your steaks or your chicken. And so I like to plan ahead. Also, planning ahead allows me to make sure that everything is cold before I put it in here. There was a time where I used to go and I would stop at the store on my way to camp, and I would buy chicken, and I would buy the steak, and I would buy everything I need, and then I'd get out to the vehicle and put it in my cooler. Well, as I've gotten older and wiser, I guess you'd say, I like to buy it a couple days ahead of time so that I can freeze that chicken or freeze the steak or freeze whatever needs to be frozen, so that when I put it in here, it's already ice cold. And so it's going to last longer inside my cooler, but it's also going to help keep everything else, like my lemonade and everything, cold as well. And so those are some of the tips that I use when I'm packing my cooler. I would really love to know what are some of your tips and tricks when it comes to packing your cooler or keeping everything in the cooler cold. Let me know in that comment section down below. And then make sure to subscribe and come join the pack. Caroline's going to be trying making corn on the cob in this cooler. So if you'd like to see that video, make sure to subscribe. And I can't wait to see you guys on the next one.